Hello, hello, hello! Welcome and well met. Welcome to the stream. I'm Lena Theodosia, and today I am playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're at the last final stretch. We're almost done with the game. We are back in a court section, I think, except for like people talking outside. I think we're the last bit of like gameplay kind of stuff is just we got court trial, and just talking. Basically, cutscenes and trial. I don't think we'll have another investigation scene. Or a dance with Sherlock Sholmes. I've been getting Sherlock Sholmes and Sherlock Holmes. It's muddled in my head. If I say Sherlock, I know that's what he's called in Japan. It's not like incorrect, but he's called Sherlock in freaking English because legal reasons are fun. Anyway, I'm gonna jump into the game. Okay, so I just booted it up and it's just saying the little location thing. I promise I haven't done anything else. Oh, am I gonna be able to do the voices today? Alright, so we're at 4th November, 9:30 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Let's see how the atmosphere is. Dead silent. Hello. Okay. Before we begin today, I have a brief announcement. As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings. The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice. And the discovery that a respected yard inspector was at its heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. Oh, he's standing up. Well, I say to all members of the judiciary here present on this occasion that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Counsels, we will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end. Are you sure you want that? Glare at this man. I still don't like him. Resolve, yes, that's my intention. No, Cosmos is not. Why is everybody in this game half the time just... I'm going to stand here quietly and intensely in my silence somehow, even though it's like intense silence. It's like, okay, thanks. No thoughts, just quiet. Okay. Hi, Barack. My lord, if I may inquire. The defendant may speak. On what grounds is Kazuma Asogi permitted to continue his role as prosecutor? Yeah, Kazuma, you kind of stepped in it. He has admitted to colluding with a victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution. Submitted a written petition to Lord Strongheart, requesting that judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. You did what? In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this 1 day. Kazuma, whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe. And I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper. Agreed, Barack. This man's an idiot. I like Kazuma, but he kind of dumb. Barack's like, would you let it go? don't know what's going on. I just know sketchy stuff is going on and I want to figure it out. Honestly, like, the best of Barack is this last trial of it. Because he spends the whole time just being an ally and just being exasperated with everyone's BS. And I love it so much. I'm sorry, just for Barack being like, I feel like I'm the only one with brain cells in the room. It's just peak character. Right there. Besides Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke's at his best in this one, too. Kazuma is bristling with hostility today. I get the distinct impression we're heading into very dangerous territory. No kidding. Is that really even Kazuma-sama standing before us? As an extreme exception to normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request. The defense finds this acceptable, I presume. Yes, my lord. I didn't quite do that, sorry. In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. This man's always standing up. It's like he's standing above the law or something, and I'm like, sit your butt down, man. Sorry. We resume the closed Sorry. We resume the closed hearing of Barack Van Zeeks. Defenses are ready, my lord. Prosecution is more than ready. Very well, then. This preamble has taken long enough. Prosecutor Asogi, begin. Bow. Or salute. Kind of a bowing salute. As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first witness to the stand. Bring Shishiro Jigoku into the courtroom. Less than. We've reached the final battle. He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get to the truth. Mon Ryunosuke, it's time for that steely resolve, because this is going to test it to the limit. Go! Aye. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court. So it was you who issued this, was it? Your subpoena? I did what was necessary. Well, look what the young man has become. I didn't think I'd see the day when you take that tone with me, I must say. The witness will ensure his responses are pertinent to the questions asked. This is like a circus at this point, I get the feeling. My name is Shishiro Jigoku, a Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan. 16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. I am, of course, fully aware of Mr. Jigoku and his preeminent roles. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. It was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations. I put my all into that treaty. Judge Jigoku, I must ask. Well, I never. Fancy the young murdering student turning up here of all places. He didn't murder anyone! I'm gonna smack Jigoku. You acquitted me yourself. And now I'm a practicing defense lawyer. And I'm not a practicing voice actress. Okay. Yes, and full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see. Came here to London by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France. Flight? I'll have to object to that turn of phrase. Then explain yourself. Exactly were the circumstances? Okay, I got it. You. There we go. I'm glaring too much. Well, I was somewhat expecting this, and I'm sorry to say, I decline to comment. What? Leaving the country prematurely when I was invited guest may seem questionable. Oh wait, when I was an invited guest may be questionable etiquette. But my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify. Unrelated, you say? I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien, I'd obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that. So you would run from all this? Beg your pardon? The case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder. A case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now. A year ago in Japan. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson, you mean? That's right. And you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it. Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you're resolved to carry this through to the very end, too. You're not gonna like it. I wonder if we'll get to one particular line today. Let's see your evidence, then. What proof do you have that Shishiro Jigoku is involved in this case? Yeah. It should be that. I'm gonna save it because it's this game and sometimes. Paranoid save, let's go! How to spot a gamer paranoid saving.
Take that!
Okay, I was right. This is a telegram detailing a communication sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. The communication contained 4 names. K. Osogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. Oh, now he's mad. You little... Where did you get that? In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku. What? How on earth did you... What's all this all about? Why is my name on that list? The list of 4 names follow a certain pattern. D. Gregson and J. Wilson are the names of victims. K. Osogi and A. Shin are the names of assassins. No. A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Giselle Brett, but her real name was Asa Shin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. A. Shin and her victim J. Wilson. And the murder that just took place here in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student. Kazuma Osogi, whose victim was the British police inspector Tobias Gregson. K. Asogi and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country one assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other. What exactly is the defense suggesting? These two cases of murder. One that took place in Britain and one in Japan. Were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange. Telegram the defense has acquired as proof of this international contract to kill. What? What? Did Asogi actually not know that? The telegram was found in your office, Judge Jigoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you. Judge Jigoku, what's this all about? Nope, Kazuma has no gosh dang clue what's going on. You're played like a fool, like a fiddle. I'm gonna dunk on Kazuma in this chapter. I do like him, but he's such an idiot in this chapter, and I'm not gonna let him live it down. Metaphorically, I guess, speaking in this instance. And you, Kazuma, you lied. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you'd accepted the assassination mission. But the mark wasn't Judge Jigoku at all. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard, as shown by the name on the killing contract. Very impressive, Ryunosuke. But actually, I didn't lie. The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday. The idea that Shishiro Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you. Ah! You deliberately avoided saying a name. The defense claims these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself? He is not happy. His silence only goes to prove his guilt. There's another very important point that this new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Grouse. Judge Jigoku, you have to testify now. To refuse would put you in contempt of court. There's no need for quite such a vicious stare, young man. Very well then. As a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know. It seems this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear about the alleged assassin exchange and the events of the night okay, try again. This is one of those days I'm not very good with the not at my best today, but I'm trying my best. About the alleged assassin exchange and the events of the night of the 31st October. Present your formal testimony now. Oh, he did a bow. I forgot he did that. As you wish, my lord. Okay, so what is this testimony? Oh, God. What's this testimony gonna be? The assassin exchange. It's true that Kazuma Asogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. If there had been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it. So clearly I can't be involved. Oh, hello, Frug. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. So you admitted then, as this communication suggests, there really was an assassin exchange arranged between Britain and Japan. A political endeavor at the highest levels. Not something I can discuss here. To use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder. It's the most appalling thing I've ever heard. Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge. Pardon? Osogi had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know. What? Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Council? Are you just gonna remain silent? Yep. No one likes talking in this game. Kazuma-sama. Judge Jigoku, if you are the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court the identity of your counterpart in Britain. I'm not obliged to divulge that information. As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassin exchange that the defense has identified is unrelated to the events of this case. The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can't have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk, because if he'd been shot in the cabin, it's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it. That's right. Gregson was killed after returning to London, in a room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Barack Van Zeeks. The prosecution's accusation remains unchanged. We're gonna make this man eat those words. I mean, that was kind of obvious from the beginning of this. Back in the previous episode, we're like, well, we know Barack is innocent. He's not some airhead who has, like, no idea what's going on. I really wish I didn't get that spoiled to see if I would be able to catch on that that guy was a jerk or not. I kind of got the feeling it was possible. There's only been one defense person on the defense docket that was actually not innocent. And this is not a case of that. I mean, we already have an example, so we kind of have an idea of how it would go. This doesn't line up. To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such Machiavellian dealings. Clearly, it's a plot only a government administrator and a high-ranking judge, such as the witness, could hope to execute. Well, I seem to recall that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. Be that as it may, it is not the place of this court to pursue this villainous assassin exchange plot. We are concerned with only the tangible evidence. Oh wait, tangible events portrayed. Kind of loud. We are concerned only with the tangible events perpetrating to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, Counsel? Yes, my lord. I'll keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. Okay, so no talking about the assassin exchange, only hint for try to prove Gregson was murdered on the boat, I believe, is what the game's trying to point towards, and I already need a drink because all these guys have raspy voices, and it's hard on my vocal cords to voice them. By all these guys, I mean Goku and Strongheart. Trying my best here, man. Can I just voice Naruto and Kazuma? Those guys are easy to do. There's too many guys. There are too many beefy guys in this game. I don't have the vocal range. Okay, so right, what do we have to work with? Cosmo was assigned a year ago. The target was Gregson for the study tour. Let's see. Something happened. He was unable to carry out the mission. By he, I mean Kazuma. Okay, there's a crew member. Shot fired. The crew would have heard it, so he couldn't be involved. Okay, let's take a look at the evidence. We got the telegram. It's just this, so I don't... Oops. Oh, right, we have the small component from Gregson's pocket watch. We already... Yeah, it's the missing crown of Inspector Gregson's pocket watch. So we already have that. Oh! Evacuation drill. Oh, this might be what we need for... Actually, I think we're on it. If there was a shot fire, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. I think we just present this now. I'm gonna save it, though, because paranoid safe. Because I don't need to hear everybody rag on Ryunosuke, rather just reload. Because everyone's gonna be very rude to Ryunosuke, and I'm like, shut up, you all suck. Alright, do I just present this here?
Objection.
Oh, I think that worked. Okay, cool. Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Judge Jigoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times. What? I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st. What? Where did you get that? It's evidence gathered by Mr. Herlock Shlomes. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember. Herlock Shlomes again. According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m., and for a period of 20 minutes, all crew members of the SS Grouse were together on deck for an evacuation drill. All crewmen were away from their posts. And during that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one. This man is just constantly grumpy now. No words, just grump. In summary, Judge Jigoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime.
Objection.
I think this is overture. I need to turn up my headphones a bit. Yeah, I think that was overture. I finally remember the name! Because yeah, I think... Yeah, we shouldn't be getting the Pursuit song until later. Well, Great Pursuit. Yeah, it's definitely Overture. Sorry, if Overture plays or Great Pursuit, I stop and listen. I'm like, which one is it? Okay. A 20-minute window of opportunity. That's an excellent find, Ryunosuke. But it amounts to nothing. Why? Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin, unless you have some decisive evidence that can show his testimony to be false. Your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Very true. Well, counsel? Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Because the defense has the evidence to prove it. You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel. What proof do you have that the victim's life was taken in Judge Jigoku's cabin on the 31st October? Is it the small component here? Let me save it again. Sometimes I'm like, I could hand over the watch, I think, too. Wait, is the watch even updated? Hold on. What does the watch say? No, it does not have it. So yeah, it's probably the small component. Let's give it a go.
Take that!
Goku! This was found in your cabin yesterday. What is that? The crown of a pocket watch. A pocket watch? And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part. It can't be. Moreover, this crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Jigoku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke there. You're not doing so well there, are you, sir? In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill in the cabin occupied by you, Judge Jigoku. Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you? You young murderer. He's not murdered anyone!
Objection!
How to say you're a bad guy without saying you're a bad guy? And Kazuma, rude. I was talking. Expertly maneuvered, Ryanosuke. He's so pleased. Your argument sounds entirely plausible. At first. But rather like this pocket watch, it's full of cracks. What? And I believe Judge Jigoku feels the same way. I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year. Ugh. Sorry. If I'd known that it would result in anyone having to listen to this drivel, I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world your ridiculous bombast. We need to put this man behind bars. What is wrong with this judge? That's not how the legal system should work. I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. Do you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night? You'll notice the pitfall into which you've stumbled. Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge he was there, I presume. Yes, I do. Very well then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of the 31st October. Of course. As a man of the law, I have no intention of obstructing justice. I doubt. Doubt. I doubt that. Law-abiding? Sure. And I got flaming pink hair. I don't! I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin, after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an Ippon Seoi throw, though. He couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder. The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain, because his body was found in London. So, we need to find evidence of, like, blood or something. Ippon Seoi. A common jujutsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take. So, Ryanosuke Naruhodo, I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you? What? The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves the victim's murder took place there. It just means he was there. I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger. Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death. Well, The testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord. But if this testimony holds, Judge Chikoku will be deemed to have had no involvement in the case. Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on a cross-examination. Sorry, my lord. The defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that. You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten. In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo. We kind of have an ego check. We're going through this pretty at speed. Into the cabin. Okay, hold on. It was this. There's blood on it. So this might be a key to use. Inspector Gregson's metal traveling trunk that was removed for the scene, but subsequently recovered by Gina. I already have the check mark, but it hasn't been updated. That's Clint's autopsy report. That's not gonna be helpful right now. Photo! Everyone else's face makes me giggle. There's what I want. Did this get updated? Yeah, indeterminable. Evidence suggests measures may have been taken to disguise the time of death. That might be important. Standard issue. Scorch marks at point of entry. Bullet exited the body from behind. So we shoot head on at close range because scorch marks. Okay. I'm like, let's just review some of the facts so I can piece things together. Okay. We gotta prove that Gregson was there. Alright, what is he saying? Okay. He returned from the evening meal. Gregson was there supposedly with a gun. Threw him. Watch broke. Inspector... Okay. I think we might have to press on a few things, but nothing's standing out too much, so we'll just start from the beginning.
Hold it!
Because the so-called guard posted at your cabin door had just let your killer pass, you mean? Apparently. Gregson told the crewman he was a police inspector, which was the truth, of course. He wouldn't have had his identification with him, though. He had his trench coat and mustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I imagine the crewman was convinced. But the man accompanying him would have had 2 swords slung around his waist. You mean me? Who else? Yes, that's true. You would have hoped the sight of a few swords might have sent off alarm bells in the guard's head. Point is, I left the cabin before its occupant returned, and I immediately disembarked the ship. Certainly. All I can tell you is that only the inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back at my cabin. And you entered without any inkling of suspicion. That's right. None whatsoever. Okay. I do have to say the last bit was funny because Ryunosuke's like, Kazuma's there and he has 2 swords. And then Kazuma's like, wait, you mean me? He's like, who else? I'm like, Kazuma's like, wait, you're saying I was there? I'm like, you were there! You idiot! That's such a silly, dumb conversation. I love it. Ryunosuke's like, dude, you were the one who was there, not me. Why am I pointing this out? Oh, jeez. Maybe Cosmo's just doing it just to be annoying. I wouldn't put it past him at this point. Okay, so this is... waving... Gregson was waving a gun. Alright, what do you have more to say about this? Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson. Yes. Though at the time, I didn't know the man's name. And there was no time for introductions. I value my life over manners. By which you mean that the inspector was there to assassinate you, I suppose. That was certainly the impression given by the gun pointed in my direction. But I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in all my life. Anyone would think the man had never shot somebody before. Believe it or not, most of us haven't. Anyway, there was no time to call for the help of the crewman at the door, so I dealt with the man myself. Okay. So throw him. Even though the man had a gun. It was a very brave move, wasn't it? Hahaha! My Yvonne Sayoi is far faster than a bullet, I can assure you. More of a trigger finger, but go on. But surely, all the commotion caused the crewman to come in, didn't it? Huh? Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and just managed to slip past him, making his escape. Outstanding guard does it again. Lucky there aren't many situations I can't get out of by using a quick Ippon Sayoi throw. Okay, so watch was broken.
Hold it!
The crown snapped off, and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked. Preferable to the man's head being pulled off, or his spine cracking, wouldn't you say? Not that the man was spared for long. A bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is, the broken pocket watch doesn't prove that a murder took place. Absolutely not! All the watch proves is the power of my jujutsu throw. Whatever you say, it's not quite even true that no shot was fired in that cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall. What are you talking about? Hmm? That's what the star of your lowbrow detective stories told you, is it? Well, I don't care for such fiction. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling? No murder took place in my cabin. The inspector was okay, this is... I didn't even read that.
Hold it!
Maybe we do just present the chest. But there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive. Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, stripling? What is that word? Stripling? Like somebody who has a stipend? Kind of thing? Stripling? Okay, stripling. Alright. What? If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have gone back to Britain? When people die, their bodies remain at the same spot. It's a devil of a thing. Well, then, obviously the culprit must have moved the body. How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think? Well, yes, that's true, but... All passengers' luggage is inspected when it's unloaded from arriving vessels. And I would like to think the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage. The murder had taken place aboard the ship. You would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain. Ugh. Let's kill that idea then. But perhaps not. Miss Susato. We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea. Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative. Dear me. You really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I had been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony with your consent. Of course, my lord. I have no objection. State your amend testimony now. There's no possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain. Are you... Can I just show the bit of evidence now? Which some people might be going, what evidence? And I'm like, give me a second, let me save, because I'm a paranoid saver. We found this man in a suitcase, and it's his suitcase. He did have a suitcase. Even in this picture. So, yeah, I kind of remember this point. I don't know if I show it now or not, though. Let's press it, just in case. We'll get, like, wraparound dialogue, but... It might be one of those instances where you don't present the evidence, you have to press on what is said, and it'll go into a thing where you present evidence because they need a line of dialogue for it to make sense. I don't know. We've had it happen before.
Hold it!
Let's give it a try. At least rule it out. There's an idea. Think about it, Stripling. All passengers and crew disembark at the same time and pass through the same checks at the border. The supposed guests were then driven straight to the hotel in carriages organized by the ministry. And we met you as soon as you arrived at the hotel. So you did? Well then, remind me, did I have a corpse over my shoulder at the time? What? No! So we're in agreement, then. I couldn't possibly have brought the inspector's body back to Britain. Unless, of course, they've developed some clever device these days to instantaneously move things from A to B. Funny you should say that. Professor Harebrain's invention didn't actually work, if you remember, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, of course. The defense has become unusually quiet, I noticed. Yes, because there's really nothing more to say. Okay, yeah, we'll probably have to present the picture. So that's the story. Well, I suppose if you think about it, whenever you drop a teacup in the office and it breaks, we don't say, Mr. Naruhodo must have been murdered there, do we? It's like I felt threat about what may happen to me if I break another one. And the fact is that Inspector Gregson's body was found in the little room on Fresno Street. If he really was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin, the body would have to have been moved somehow, obviously. Transporting a dead body over a country border, that would be impossible for the majority of people. So there must have been some special circumstances that made it possible for the culprit then. That could be a vital realization, I think, Mr. Naruhodo. I think Minister's luggage is not checked. And Jigoku is a minister of foreign affairs in Japan. So, yeah, I'm gonna save again. Just to be safe, because paranoid savers, Okay, I believe we just present the photo. I need to go find it. Okay, photo. I have 4 things of evidence. I need to check to see if any other game has this much evidence, because it's a lot. Okay, yeah, this is the right one. This is the right one. Okay. Will this work?
Objection!
Oh, the music cut out. It worked. There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true. And what's that supposed to mean? Far from being impossible for you to do. The transportation of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do. What are you talking about, Ryunosuke? As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Which means He's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. Flashback. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took a rather lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Ah, I knew you were jealous. I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside. Mr. Naruhodo, you're not suggesting. I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk. That would be such a horrific thing to have happen to you. Can you imagine being in that position? I'd be like, that would just just pop in my head every now and then. I just feel greatly disturbed and unnerved. I don't know about you, but that would be me. Yikes, that's not a situation I wouldn't want to be in real life. I'm skeptical, Counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk. It could. Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside this trunk. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku? Stuff him in the trunk. But inside his trunk? How horrifying! And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street. Taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body. I don't have to listen to this nonsense. Dr. Gore, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator. Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the request size are few and far between. Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages, and the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikotova told me it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jigoku? He's just glaring and staring. No words, just glare. However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer. Well, this is all very heartening. I could see that it was a wise move, letting Asogi and you embark on the study tour. What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations for that already. Judge Jigoku, please stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond? Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there? Why ever not? Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical. The actual scene of the crime. The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused, Brock Van Zeke shot the victim at point-blank range. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defendant's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling. The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantaneously. I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim. That's the only fairy tale here. How can you say that? Quite simply. Because that claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession. Is it the... Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you? The prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantaneously when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. This evidence clearly contradicts that claim. Is it the box? Yeah, it was from... I'm not sure. Well, it's got the gash in it. Okay, open it up. Oop. I gotta move. It also looks very weird. Now we have the travel case. There's nothing else in here. I'm not sure if this is what I present or not, but it's the only thing I can think of. Yeah. Got a passport. What does this say? Oh, right. This shows he was on the ship. It's not that useful right now. Yeah, because that doesn't disprove that he couldn't have gone back to Fresno Street. Warrant. Firecrackers. Yeah, I think it's the box. Everything's checked off, so it's as up to date as it can be. And I know they had a conversation about it, but I'm not... It doesn't have a thing saying, like... stuff. Anyway. I guess it's this.
Take that!
Is it? Japanese are really a curious breed. To profiteer and argument such conviction only present nonsense. Yeah. Yeah, it's not that. I don't need to hear people being rude. I'm like, yeah, that didn't work. What is it? Okay, what was he saying beforehand? Because that's another reason why it's good to just reload, because it's like, please don't delete people talking. Let's see. The victim was shot in the little room of Fresno Street and died instantaneously. I'm afraid the prosecution claims only fairy tale here. How can you say that? Wait, is it the pocket watch? Okay. Okay. It's not the metal trunk, unless I... Okay, I'll go look at it one more time. It's not any... This is the only thing, and there's no other mark. Yeah. I mean, there's this, but we've checked that too. We figured out... Wait, do we still have that bit? No, wait. We... don't? I think that might be tied with the sword. Where's the sword? Where's Karuma? Yeah, it has a... The sword's tip has a small piece missing. Huh. Do we need to look at the sword tip? Like, do we need to get the reason why Kazuma unsheathed Karuma and broke it subsequently? Is either that or the watch? But I'm not sure how either really... I guess the watch would prove more, but... Let me go look at this. No, it's still checked off. Okay. Yeah, Inspector Gregson's watch that she wound without fail every single day. Having wound up, it started ticking again. I guess I'll try. I kind of don't feel like it's right, but I don't feel like anything's right, so I guess we'll try it.
Take that!
Okay. No, that's not that. Okay. Let's go back into history more. Prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place at Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused Barakran Sikh shot the victim, there's no tangible evidence to prove the prosecution's claim. Okay, we need to find that he didn't die then? Okay, it's not gonna be claimed. They've brought this up. So, Evacuation drill, this just connects that. It doesn't just prove that he wasn't there on Fresno Street. I mean, it wouldn't have to be the... Because this is one of the things we found on Fresno Street, so we... Okay, this is... Why is this not checked off? Okay, we'll check it out. I'm like, let's just look over the evidence that Fresno Street we found. Maybe we've got... Okay, this is same as we got last time. We haven't used this. I don't think. Very much. Revolver hasn't been updated, has it? The type of revolver standard issue for the members of the judiciary then. I forgot who their issue 2 was told. For the past 5 years, they've been engraved with a unique serial number. As far as I can tell, there's nothing one like on that. Been issued longer ago than that. So it's 5 or plus years ago. Why is there a pin on the bottom here? Don't know why that is. Okay. I mean, that doesn't help. Because that doesn't disprove, because Van Zeeks would have gotten his go. What would disprove the press? It would be newer information, wouldn't it? I don't know what they're meaning! I've been having an easy time. It's not... It's... Oh, well, I haven't... Is it Karma?
Take that!
Yeah, no, it's not Karma. I didn't think it was. I don't have, like, the little metal piece as a separate thing anymore. Yeah, because it's still in there. Oh, we already presented the trunk, did we not? I'm so confused. I have no idea where this is going. Hold on. Let me look it up now, because I don't know. And I don't want to just sit here and just start presenting all the things. I'm like, I'm confused. And it's definitely gonna take me a bit to figure it out on my own. Because if I got stuck like this, I'd probably have to go over it with like a fine-tooth comb and carefully reread a bunch of bazillion things, and I'm like, I don't think people are gonna enjoy watching that. Let me see, let's see. It's resolve. Oop, that's not how you spell Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke Naruto. Let's see. Okay, this is usually the... Nope, I did not... Okay. Accidentally hits the thing again, just reloads the page. I'm like, that's not what I wanted to do. Decidedly, let's see. That's the cabin. Or maybe here? So separate for the itinerary drill. Sadly, you have no... Oh, judge at the time there was no incidents room. Okay, no, we've passed that. Cabin. Oh. The newly amended Statement 5 of Minister of Foreign. Okay. However, Cosmic has claimed that Gregson was... Oh! Oh! I should have figured this out! I should have figured this out! Okay. His body's curled up. In a way. Like he was stuffed in a suitcase. You're supposed to show this. I remember getting that the first time around. Because once it was like he was stuffed in a suitcase. I was like, you mean like how he's posed in the picture? Yeah, tightly curled up. I clocked that the first time around. I kind of remember. Did not clock that the second time around. Did not think. Then again, I have more to think about. I'm streaming. Okay. It's this. I must. Oh, actually, no. I probably was looking through things and I saw this and I pieced it together. But like I said, it would take me a while to get to that. So I'm just like, I'm gonna look it up. It's not like I have to prove anything. I know I've been able to get through this without looking anything up, so I don't mind doing so now for the sake of time. All right. If I read correctly, this is where we should be. Oh yeah, here we go. All right, we're good. We're moving on. Let's go. All right. A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed. Yes. But the point is, the posture of the body itself. If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a ball like that. Sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. He could have easily adopted the fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jigoku, but it's your logic that is flawed. What? According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantaneously. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position. Ah! Which begs the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way. Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now. You're suggesting the inspector's body took on the posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out on the floor, from the inside of a large travel trunk. You're quite right. The shape of the body. It looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space. Everyone's wigging out. Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood. He didn't like that. Is he gonna break the witness stand again? Because he might. Present my trunk. I refuse. What? On what grounds? The Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some stripling's baseless accusations. In other words, Judge Jigoku, there is blood in your trunk. I decline to answer that. As a Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have the privileges that... At this moment, you are not a government minister. You are a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are, or what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. Nothing is more important than the truth. Get after it, Ryunosuke! Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be? By the way, I'm avoiding the order thing because it's really hard on my throat and it doesn't really add to anything, so I'm just skipping over it. In case anyone was bugged by the last time I did that. That's why. Moving on. And he's taking it back. You can't be serious. You did it. Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Asogi? What? Very well, I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense. What? You... Dear God! Outrageous! So it was you! You... Okay. No. I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection. What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean? I merely deposited the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it in the ocean. So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else. You can't still deny it. If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man? As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life. Oh. That's right. Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Asogi. This man spent most of this trial insofar being confused, shocked, and now accused. You... Well, now you're gonna have Kazuma and Naruhodo on your ass. Good job. I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seshiro Jigoku. You're taking the words straight out of my mouth. Prosecutor, Kazuma Asogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you? Well, the prosecution... Wait, the prosecution... No, that's prosecution. Sorry. Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question. Yes, an assassination mission, no less. You wouldn't. So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more. I don't believe this. Counsel for the defense. What is your position now? The court awaits a response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Asogi. This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Asogi is... impossible. That's what I'm going with. I trust Asogi more than I trust the judge, even though that's not saying that much at this point. Judge Jigoku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claimed that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process. It is. No question. Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime. Ooh! Yay! The music, I'm sorry every time. I'm like, it's this one. I think so. It's certainly more lively. I like this one. Okay. What? I think this might be Naruhodo's theme. Yeah, this is a different song. I think it's the next part. Yeah, no, I think this is not Great Pursuit. I think this is a I think this is... might be a song called Ryunosuke's Resolve. I think it's one of Ryunosuke's songs at the very bare minimum. I like hearing this one. Okay, I'm way too distracted by the song. Oh, jeez. Pardon my enjoyment, I guess? Nah, I'm just gonna be like Van Zeeks. Anyway, moving on. The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, Consul. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the possibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement? The fact his blade is broken? Gregson was shot. That's not in contention. Kazuma tried to smack this man with a sword. Because this. I think that's what we present now. Let me give it a save because I could very well be wrong. I don't deny that. But I think it might be this time. Yeah, let me double check, make sure it's not like, hey, we want you to update it even now, but like right before this. It's done that to me a few times already, this playthrough, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to double check. Bad guy in black, good guy in white. Asogi is by game logic, is it? Oh wait, it kind of flickered. Or is that just it? Yeah, no, that's just like going off. Well, if it is this, I know we gotta use this at some point. I think it might be this. Or I'm just gonna look up the guy because honestly, I'm like, I don't remember. I don't think I did it correctly. Yeah, I don't think I did that correctly. Like, gosh dang it. What do? I have it still pulled up. I'm just like, I give up. Ah. Okay. Why is it this? Okay, it wants me to show this. I don't understand.
The itinerary for crew members of the SS Grouse. My lord, this is conclusive proof.
An itinerary? How does that prove anything?
Judge Jigoku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant.
What? Why?
On the night in question, as always, a crewman sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin.
Absolutely.
Because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate.
Oh! If Asogi left before that thing happened, it means he couldn't have used a gun, and that's how Gregson was killed. Meaning that... Oh, I see what's going now. I see where it's going now. Okay, I understand. I didn't need to explain it to me quite fully.
So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. That narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock. It's indicated on the itinerary.
Oh, okay, maybe it's not going where I thought it was. Oh well, the game's gonna explain, regardless. Oh wait, hi, I didn't say hello. I acknowledged the statement, but I didn't actually say hello. I'm being stingy with my welcomes. Sorry, Grandma's. Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far.
But the crucial point is this. When the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk.
Okay, so it was what I was thinking. More or less, maybe. Ah.
Now, clearly the murder could only have been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. But Prosecutor Asogi stated in yesterday's proceedings.
I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Osogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing.
In your face. Ooh. No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all.
What do you mean?
The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and finish the...
No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma?
As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. All extremely easy to verify, an undeniable proof. There's no escaping this time. You can forget you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer, as a common man. You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson, and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That's what really happened, isn't it? Shishiro Jigoku. It was that damn trial 10 years ago. That's when all this began. He's gonna break the thing again. Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already. He broke it, and he nearly got stabbed. Oh my gosh. Typical. It flew. I would question that more, but the break things in Ace Attorney are kind of just like that. Weird shite happens. A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomacy immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands. I think he's talking, but I'm not reading his voice. The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand.
And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Osogi. But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain, and you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement, because I was already on my way to Britain at the time in Kazuma's place. And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that. The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume. That's right. I like the detail that the witness stand is gone still. Just to point that out. I decided it would be the safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterpart. I made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was giving a sham mission by the Reaper. What? The Reaper?
There's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself.
Ah. So, that means that the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper.
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission, and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France, and his own death.
Oh, how awful.
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him the time to attack me,
I choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time waiting. For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock. I intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came round and went for me in a reckless move. I received the British-issued gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that. So the revolver belongs to you, does it? Then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the Essos Grouse. Which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street. The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on the deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room. And then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police. I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London. In that case, you must have known. You must have had the intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule. Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon, in order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone, from whom he would take back his police identification. Ah! I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit. So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk. That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then. Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers. Miss Venus, of course. I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gunshot. What sort of disguise? For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case, so I put that on, although I suspect it drew more attention to myself in that than I would have otherwise. The hairpiece we found at the scene. The inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation. I only arrived in the room around 4:45, so I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later, so that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder. What was that? I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips. Ah! I didn't notice that it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigeration room. I put it back in his pocket the following morning, but... well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. It does do that. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did. Why do I get the feeling there's more that you've done? Why do I get the feeling there's an answer? Seriously, the witness benches is gone. It went up to heaven with other broken witness benches. Railing? I guess it's more of a railing, but it's gone. I like this silly little details like that. I think that's the first time I've ever seen the— oh, right, they call it the witness stand. Yep. Bye-bye, bottle. Don't fall down. Stay. Good bottle. I've heard enough.
We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty. Are you gonna do something? He's gonna shout at one point and scare me again, isn't he?
An exchange of assassins. What a foolhardy idea.
Mr. Jigoku,
One last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange?
he's gonna say it's Brock.
Nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us.
Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say. Even though, as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again. What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson. Oh. You know, that's the first time we've seen them do anything. Why do these do anything this trial? Or these proceedings? Shishiro Jigoku. It is the opinion of this court that you should be found guilty. And may I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. It is very quiet. Okay. I was expecting like a hold it or one moment or something, but okay. Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defense's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
Oh, wonderful! Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, thank you. Is something wrong? I'm just a little troubled by his silence.
The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey, and this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries, however, insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have really reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries. As a prosecutor. As you wish. Now, for the formal adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant Barack Van Zeeks.
Objection!
There he goes. We're not over yet. Prosecution calls for the adjudication to be deferred. Counsel? The accused innocence hasn't been fully established at all. And therefore, it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position.
What? But Judge Jigoku has already confessed.
Nonetheless, Barack Van Zeeks has committed the crimes for which he must be punished. Has committed crimes for which he must be punished. My bad. Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly. The murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Shishiro Jigoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced in complying with the plot into the sick, merciless assassin exchange.
That may be true, but
You have Come on. Silly. So, what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? The victim went to France, having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Brock Van Zeeks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey. And furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond reasonable doubt. What? What? He really has an out for Van Zeeks, don't he? The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Council. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build a case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Zeeks very thoroughly in that regard. And they've had no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper.
Perhaps. The circumstances have now changed. What do you mean? It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here. I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Zeeks. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes.
That explains Cosima's silence before. He'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Van Zeeks unwillingly started 10 years ago.
Very well, whilst it's extremely irregular. I will, on this occasion, grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he had with the Reaper in the assassin exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing. Fire is back. Don't let the... Hey, the witness stand is back. Hi, Van Zeeks. Leggy. Pray, turn a blind eye to the discourtesy, as I verified that this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hollowed chalice. It's been a while since I've done Van Zeeks, and I'm happy. I've been talking as Van Zeeks.
Lord Van Zeeks?
First had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now. And ever since that time, I've endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it. So I welcome the chance to testify now, and crush those allegations once and for all. Good. Then let justice aside, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution seeks to begin building a case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey. What says the defense?
Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. Kazuma-sama is so emotional at the moment. He's not thinking logically.
Which means we throw evidence in his face and tell the man to shut up.
You're right that he's not himself. But I knew it would be like this. And I came here today to determine...
Okay, try again.
And I came here today, determined to face him through whatever might arise. as a lawyer and as his friend. Then that's what we must do. The defense has no objection, my lord.
Very well. Defendant, you will take to the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. As you wish, my lord. Yeah. Big yawn. Reaper and the assassin exchange. What is he gonna say? I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years. I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. Point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassin exchange. So you deny all accusations by the prosecution, both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey, and that you mastermind the assassin exchange. I acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that is a fallacy, which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yes? Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom? You gonna answer? A desire to uncover the truth. Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty? From all my experiences in this court, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in the pursuit of the truth. I want you to remember what you just said. Kazuma, he's not gonna be eating his words. You are. I'm gonna choke on air. Alright, that was unpleasant. Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense. Proceed to cross-examine the witness.
Ah, yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The connection you've convinced... The connection you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony.
It's going to be connecting him. The connecting line is clearly the professor case. I'm like, how to do that? Right, we have... Is it this? Wait, no. Signed by Dr. John H. Wilson. Doesn't this mention Gregson? Yes, Inspector Gregson's also mentioned in this. This might be what I need to use. It's so quiet, there is no music. There it is! Okay. Where is it? There's no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Now there is! I'm gonna go save them. I don't need to hear about how Ryunosuke is messing up, even though Ryunosuke himself probably would have gotten this in one since he seems to have some idea already. I mess up, however. Really gives me the feeling of stop picking on Ryunosuke, that's my bad. Guilty.
Okay. Is it just this?
Objection!
Yep. Yep, it is. What is this? An autopsy report. Wait. This is 10 years old. From the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. What? My brother's autopsy report. I'm pleased to see. The defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth. Van Zeeks is like, why is my brother getting involved in this again? Poor guy. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, Counsel?
This autopsy report of the professor's final victim is an undeniable link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant.
That accursed name again. Professor. I've personally researched all of the court records relating to that case.
I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's souls. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zeeks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead, Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure. And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document.
As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Oh boy. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Osogi was guilty of the murders. My brother's dying moments mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Zeeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death. It was a marvelous victory in court. Marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death. That's outrageous. And now, 10 years later, for some reason the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced, isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain, using 2 killers recruited for the assassin exchange. And it's going bananas. Now it's no longer bananas. Strong hearts are forced to be reckoned with. 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain. Whatever the cost. Van Zeeks is not interested, child. You'll have to forgive me. I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese's tenacity of purpose here. However, he who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Come on, Kazuma! You know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence, there's nothing more than a wild accusation. As it happens, I have evidence. What? As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Shashiro Jigoku.
but my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth.
What truth?
The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago.
What? Secret? I know nothing of any secret.
While we wait for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword, Karuma, before the inspector's eyes. Very quickly understood what my true motive was. Right, I see. You're that Asogi's young lad, are you? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it? That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth. That's all. Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor. There's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately, back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick. So, you admit it then. The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated. It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak! I'm not saying another word. Even if your life depends on it. That's right. Even then.
Ooh. And then he broke it. Karuma, that is.
So that's when the tip of the sword broke. Oh, Kazuma-sama. The results of Clint Van Zeek's autopsy were fabricated. Then the investigating officer, Gregson, and the lead coroner, Wilson, must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Barack Van Zeeks.
In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins.
Exactly. And as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange.
Ah!
So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Barack Van Zeeks.
He's not happy about that. Sit down, Strongheart. Jeez.
Objection!
Kazuma Asogi.
What?
What you've just told the court. Are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago?
I heard it with my own ears. His shameful omission.
In that case, I know. The name of the Reaper.
What? Lord Van Zeeks?
They have no such orders. I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one.
If Lord Van Zeeks isn't the one behind all of this, then yes, there's only one other person who could have done something like that. I believe I know who it is too.
You?
I just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is...
Do I want to say? There's another bit. Hold on. Let me see how much there's gonna be left. Give me a second. Give me a second. I mean, we're almost done. I'm like, how much further is this gonna go? Okay, no. All right. This is. Wait, hold on. I want to make sure I'm gonna guess the right person. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would have. Okay. The witness present and pen questionable autopsy report. Okay. Yeah. So that autopsy was actually written by Eugen. I would have guessed the wrong person, which is probably a good thing, but still. Okay. Because he's the one who... Oh, I can't show the evidence. Okay, I'll just have to present.
Take that!
Like, I want to make sure. Ryunosuke does not want to say this name, and I don't blame him.
It's really palpable now. An overwhelming pressure. It's making it almost impossible to speak before this gargantuan foe. But I can't back away now. There's no time.
What's the matter, Consul? I take exception at the look you're giving me.
I was just gathering my thoughts. I'm ready to voice the defense's opinion now.
Very well. But before you do so, a penalty for time wasting. Oh no, okay, so that was the... Huh. Okay, that's not what it said. Okay, what did I do wrong? Oh, I read too soon. I read the wrong part! I'm an idiot. Okay, it was what I was thinking. I'm just an idiot. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna be embarrassed. This asshole.
Take that!
Strongheart. I don't like him. Also, he was the lead prosecution before Brock Van Zeeks. Brock Van Zeeks had to ask to switch places. If we've been told this at least twice by now. I got it wrong because I read the thing. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I feel bad. I ruined the pacing. I ruined the moments. My bad. Ah, okay. But we're almost done with this section, so I'll go finish it off.
The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulate the autopsy results
is the Lord Chief Justice himself. Lord Mail Strongheart. What? Lord Strongheart? I did not expect that.
Yes, it's true that 10 years ago, the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court, but he only took over that case after his brother, Clint Van Zeeks, had been killed.
I understand why he's standing up now. I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history.
Well, Lord Van Zeeks.
Many years ago, I was very new to my profession, but I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. An investigation to that point. The supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined. All the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt. The way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. I see now. I was very much mistaken.
It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. That same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Shashiro Jigoku. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey.
This man's an a-hole. Leggy. The court awaits a response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history. I assure you, it is no joke. Either this, formal Okay. Accusal. Okay, why was that hard to say? Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. Everyone is getting accused. It doesn't warrant a response. A formal accusal, don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best.
You're not going to defend yourself.
You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Zeeks' autopsy. That's utterly untrue.
Objection!
I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And where is your evidence? What? Gregson's dead now. Unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand. You mean to say? I forgot how the system works in your little backwater country. But in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case. I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything. You want to bet on that? Following Inspector Gregson's murder, and in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events of 10 years ago, is there? So that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange. This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought up by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections.
Kazuma, he's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? Is there no other avenue we can go down in the pursuit of the truth about what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint Van Zeeks' autopsy.
This is what I was Mikotaba. I'm such an idiot. There is someone. It's Mikotaba. He wrote the darn thing. He was there.
He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks. Even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. And Dr. Synth won't say anything against Strongheart. But there's still one ray of hope.
Objection!
Actually, there is one person. One person who could still testify about that autopsy.
Don't be ridiculous. There's no one left.
Who, Ryunosuke? Who?
Tell me.
Kazuma,
Please. This trial can't end. Not yet.
I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the truth.
That's such a harsh line. We did get to the line today. Just Ryunosuke. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the truth. To his best friend. He's like, you're being an idiot right now. Screw off. I am doing this for other reasons. That's just kind of an ouch, but also like, good on you, Ryunosuke. Let's go. Best boy. Strongheart's not pleased. Suck it, loser. Okay. I'm getting too into this.
The person the defense would like to call to the stand to testify about the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks is Eugene Mikotaba.
Take that!
Heaven help us. Another Japanese. Screw you too, Strongheart. Mutter, mutter, mutter. Bad words.
An expert in forensic medicine, my lord. Professor Eugene Mikotaba, 16 years ago. He came to London with Shishiro Jigoku and Genshin Osogi as a visiting student.
And what could this testimony possibly tell us?
Professor Mikotaba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report.
Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature.
It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it. In other words, Professor Mikotoba witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Mikotoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us.
The defense's demand is denied.
What? But Professor Mikotoba is in London at this very moment. We could summon him to the stand in minutes. No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself.
Prosecutor Asogi, let me refresh your memory, as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper, and of masterminding the assassin exchange.
I did, yes.
So present your evidence for those claims, and make your case complete. At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence. That's exactly why we need witness testimony. The professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Asogi, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father. Frickin' rude! I want to kick this man in the face. I can't even kick that high. Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Toshiro Jigoku. As for any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities.
But we all know what will happen. They'll just give the mastermind the whole adventure time to cover his tracks again.
By which you mean me. Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Asogi, you will be reprimanded following these proceedings. Willingly, I trust, since you gave your word. Oh, Cosmo. This futile game of revenge is over. Young Master Asogi. Is he going to cry? I think he's going to cry. Out of frustration, that is. I'm not repeating that. That is way too loud. Cosmo's in mental anguish right now. That's all I'm gonna say. Poor boy. That would be all. I hereby this trial to be... Shenanigans. Hi, Shlomes. Mr. Shlomes! This was no place for an amateur Excuse me? Detection? Deduction? Do you mean deduction? What word is this man using? I'm going with deduction. This is no place for amateur deduction, Mr. Shlomes. May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once.
Mr. Shlomes was instrumental in the apprehension of Toshiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say.
Lord Mel Strongheart, it's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage. Is it really? And why would that be? You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be that the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory, can it? Eat your own words, sir! Eat your own words! The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered. Press X it out. It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows. Should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along to the provocations of your superiors? Smokey's still having a mental crisis in the corner. It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar. Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now. The auditors in the gallery have no rights to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence! He's right. The judge has absolute authority here. Yes, if he calls the trial to an end, it must end. What will that really do? I sense dark things occurring behind the scenes. Dark things indeed. Is there a single person here who can... Okay, I didn't get that one. Oh, hey, history, whoa. Is there a single person here or present who can honestly say he doesn't sense the same? What? The trial should go on. Summon the witness. That's right, we need to clear this up before that young Japanese fellow is remedied to his country. Oh, the cute face! Okay, I'm dead. I'm deceased. I'm deceased. Goodbye. Look at the hope in this poor boy's eye. He's like, what? Oh, yeah, it's not over yet, Kazuma. Buck up and stop being a nitwit. We gotta go. My lord, you assured these present that you would uncover the whole truth here. Vindicate yourself of this outlandish accusation. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the very foundation of British law. A toast to my dependable... Hi, cat! You scared. The shy had her. And now she's just curled. Never jump on my lap and curl up. You have interesting timing there, and she's purring. Okay. A lot is happening right now. Okay, where was I? A toast. My dependable colleagues in the gallery. On with the trial. Testify. You hear them. Well, my lord. Okay, maybe bring that down a little bit. Well, my lord. You hear the voice of British justice, I take it. I think you'll find it will be rather awkward to silence. Leave it to Schlums to throw things into chaos. The court will recess briefly. I have no intention of shrinking from these allegations. So he's just shocked. Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives at the courthouse, we shall reconvene. A recess won't be necessary, my lord. Pardon. Mikotoba is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact. What? Professor Mikotoba is here in the courthouse? Mr. Schlums, you didn't know this would happen, did you? Oh, Mr. Schlums knows everything. We've seen this man get serious. He didn't make a single mistake in his deductions with Mikotoba. Schlums has, if you recall, the last deduction we had, with Ryunosuke and co, with Schlums. Afterward, he was like, you finally mastered the art of deduction. And the next time we have a dance with Mr. Schlums, he doesn't mess up. He just gives Mikotoba the opportunity to say it instead. Or he's just like, would you mind helping me, dear fellow, with, uncovering this? He's essentially just having fun with his friend. He's been playing stupid this whole time to teach the kiddos how to do deductions.
Mr. Schlums is crazy as a hatter. Yep. Crazy like a fox, or crazy like a hatter, where you think he's absolutely insane, but he's not. He's just, there's a, what is it, the word? Phrase. Method to his madness.
My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer that question than you, surely.
I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, you know.
Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Shlomes. However, you are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once. But of course, in truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, yes? I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you.
Absolutely. It's still in my pocket.
She sends her regards and a reminder. If you find yourself at a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please.
He really wasn't happy about getting his ear full last stream. Oh, it's okay, kitty. Kitty, kitty. Got your claws stuck in my dress. Please don't rip my dress. I like this dress. Good girl.
Oh, of course.
In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand.
Plums and Vanzieks are tall.
So, as Lord Strongheart, he's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is this trial going to take me, I wonder? Just how deep am I about to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom and confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under.
We continue? Good cat, even though you scared the bejeebus out of me. And we have another stream down. I think the last stream may very well be the last one of next stream. Sorry, I just dropped the controller on my cat. I'm sorry, kitty. I didn't mean to drop the controller on you. Good kitty. Okay. I was not expecting cat, and I was not expecting to get that far into it. So yeah. Obviously, we don't have another Ace Attorney this week. It'll have to be next week. But dang. And we got to the line where Ryunosuke's like, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for the truth. I'm like, he really has been. He does acknowledge that it's gonna help his friend, but he's also like, my motivation is finding out the truth. And I'm like, I like Ryunosuke. He's absolutely brutal at times. He does not hold his punches, and I appreciate that of Ryunosuke. It's so cool. Also in this one, if you like go back and see the previous trials, you could see him struggling. He's absolutely struggling. In this one, he doesn't get taken aback nearly as much, and he's not sweating and all that. Usually, now when he uses his little, like, what are you doing kind of face, or like, ugh, stop picking on me kind of face, it's because he's like, what are you, he's just like, excuse me for having a disagree, a difference in opinion, I guess. Like with Kazuma going, you mean me? And then he's like, yes? Yeah, hi. My goodness, you're cuddly. And you're very warm. I'm slightly overheated now. Okay. Well, we're gonna have 2 days of no streams. I know. Oh, the horrors. But there is a holiday, and I'm like, no, it's going to be hectic. I cannot stream on the same day as a holiday around where I live. It's just way too hectic. So the last stream this week will be on Friday, so apologies for the wait, but I will thank you for your understanding. But yeah, we're finishing off the week with Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. What are you doing now? Why are you causing problems? Please don't mess with my stuff. I'm talking to the cat again, sorry. Okay, are you going? Okay, she is going. You're such an odd little cat. I'm just confused. Okay. Alright then, yeah, okay. So, I will thank you for any, likes, comments, and if you decide to follow or subscribe, depending on which platform you're watching from, because I acknowledge I'm dual streaming, just so all y'all know, on the same page, to Twitch and YouTube, so if you want to follow me for more streams and whatnot, see what else I come up with. I mean, after all, I'm going to have more room in my schedule after we're done with Ace Attorney, so we'll have more variety of games to look forward to, because I don't think, I have said I don't plan on playing the Apollo Justice trilogy. I'm like, but let me have my fun on my own time with that one. Yeah, I'm looking over where I can see my games, by the way. You can't tell what I'm looking at. I'm like, I don't think I have any major game that has a big, long story coming up next. I mean, I do have Legends Arceus, but I can pick that up and put it down. It's Pokemon. It's not that suspenseful. It's not gonna have people going, yes, have 2 streams. So yeah, we'll have a more variety of streams, I guess, after this. Unless I do want to play two streams in a row, because I might have 2 Legends Arceus streams just because I'm having too much fun with that game. So I guess in the foreseeable future, might have more Legends Arceus streams. I'll have to get my own copy, because it looks already like a lot of fun. But for now, I'm gonna still borrow my friends. Yeah, with that, again, I will thank you for any and all interactions you're willing to give, though I will not, force you to do it, or, ask that of you. If you don't want to, you don't want to. If you do, you do, and I am grateful for it. But for now, I must bid all of you, whether you watched live or in a VOD, fond farewells with bye-bye, and I hope to see you on another video.